Alright, these are some charts that I made earlier last week. I just didn't have time to do a video or didn't feel like doing a video, but I'll do it right now. And I overlay the price of gold since 1973, right after we got off the gold exchange standard. And I overlay it against the US dollar index, okay? So you could see the dollar index over here, and then the gold price is over here. And it's in the blue, the dollar index, and the price of gold is in red. So you could match it with over here. Anyways, what's going on with the gold price, right? After we got up to gold exchange standard, free floating, and what happened in 1974, Gerald Ford allowed ownership of gold in 1974. So gold was roughly $174 an ounce, while the Dixie index in 1974, if I'm looking at it correctly, was like 101, 102-ish. So if you want to do the math based on this graph, so do an average price of like $162 based on the data I'm looking at. I don't have the exact price, but we could look at where gold is right now. It's like 13.18, something like that. So 13.18 minus, I don't know, 162-ish. And then figure out what percent gain did you have in gold. So basically, you've had over a 7-fold increase in the price of gold. So 713% if you held gold ever since Gerald Ford allowed you to hold gold. I know some of you, including myself, weren't even born at that time. But those individuals who bought and kept it, well, guess what? 713% increase. Not bad. Now let's look at worthless fiat, as some people call it, right? And like I said, it was like 101-ish. And where is it today? Like roughly around 80. So let's do the math. 101 minus 80. And if you can't see it, hit Control and plus at the same time to zoom in or increase the YouTube function. So that's roughly a 20-21% depreciation of the dollar, approximately. While gold allowed you to keep your purchasing power. Now let's look at the Dow, right? So let's not only look at precious metals. Let's look at the Dow. Okay, now the Dow, you could see it's on this column, and then the Dixie index is over here. And we could look at the fact that it corresponds to red, the dollar index. So look at it over here. So once again, dollar index of 101, Dixie around 80, so roughly a 21% decrease. Now you want to look at the Dow, right? The Dow, based on the averages that I have in this graph, it's like 674. So if you want to do the math, Dow is roughly like 16,000-ish, right? 16,100 for all intents and purposes. Just do that. And my data says 674 in 1974 when Ford allowed Americans to own gold. And let's do the math then. So based on 1974, when people were allowed to own gold in this country, you saw a 22% increase in the Dow, which is quite interesting. Or not 22%, 22-fold, which is an incredible move. But one may say that, hey, guess what? They continue to revalue the Dow, right? So they take some stocks out, they put stocks in. So one may say that, hey, this is not an accurate measure, and I agree with that. But my point of this video is to show that people may complain about worthless fiat, right, and how it loses value. And based on the graph that I've outlined since after the gold standard, specifically 1974, when people were allowed to buy gold, and people were allowed to obviously invest in stocks at that time, way before that. My point is that, in my opinion, staying in dollars is the wrong type of move. But at the same time, it's not specifically about gold and silver and other precious metals. It's about diversifying your assets that will actually hold value, that you can make wealth off of. And I know some people have some issues with the Dow. There's no doubt about that. I totally understand that sentiment. But at the same time, in my eyes, it's all about getting to the Dow, getting to gold, silver, whatever. Long story short, just because you're in the stock market, you may have the wrong move. I mean, if you bought J.C. Penney at $20 a share, now it's $6 a share, it would have been actually better to hold fiat than J.C. Penney stock. So if you're in the stock market or gold, yeah. Or I'm talking about myself. You have to obviously make the right decisions in the stock market. Don't get into companies that are just going to go belly under. Long story short. I know it sounds silly saying that, but in order to preserve wealth, there are ways that you can obviously make it. And in my humble opinion, worthless fiat, or what people call worthless fiat, that's not the best way to make wealth. But at the same time, if I'm in the Dow or gold and silver, there are times where you could get in and out to try to make the most out of it. And that's what I was trying to show here. I know it's common sense, but I was kind of surprised that the Dow from 1974-ish went up 22-fold. But if you go from like 1971-ish, it would have been a little different because gold was trading at like $35 an ounce at that time. So the numbers would have been a little more different. And actually, it was close if you do the math. It was like a 32-fold increase in both of the assets. But Americans technically were not allowed to hold gold. So that's why I started from 74. But regardless, this data shows if you're not on a gold standard, Americans are going to lose their purchasing power if they just hold fiat. It would have been much better if they bought stocks or gold. And when I'm talking about stocks that don't go belly under, I'm talking about well-known, renowned companies. The cream of the crop companies. So that's what I'm trying to say here, guys. What are your thoughts on this? Hit the like button, comment below. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Oh yeah, one last thing before I do go though is subscribe to my other YouTube channel. I do videos from time to time there. I'll put the link below, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.